This is Coach's Corner with ECISD Athletic Coordinator Todd Vesley.
Welcome back to the show, Coach.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
A big week for you. Big week. A real coming out. It was an explosion, wasn't it?
Well, it was a good game. It was a fun game to play, and I really thought that early on after we forced Lubbock to punt on their first possession that the punt return by Brendan Welch, that 82-yard punt return, was really an exciting moment. It seemed like it took 30 seconds for him to weave back and forth across the field and picked up some incredible blocks and made some guys miss on his own, and that really set the tone, I think, for that game.
Boy, did the stadium erupt after the 3 and out, and then to run back the touchdown, it was just a frenzy in the stadium, wasn't it?
It really was. It was exciting, and you know, we've worked hard on that punt return all year long, and to see that come to fruition was really nice.
Now let's talk a little bit about the offensive side of the ball. It looked like, you know, you had a couple quarterback changes. You know, you had lots of personnel changes as the game went on, which is a great thing for your program. That was great to see them get in the game. But, you know, they use the term firing on all cylinders. That's sure what it looked like.
We probably didn't play as consistently well against Lubbock High as we did against Midland Lee, but it was still efficient, you know, and I was really proud of the way the offensive line, for the most part, took care of their assignments. And you know, we didn't have any big, huge rushing numbers. We had like 250 yards rushing, and like we said last week, whenever you rush for that many yards, your linemen are doing a good job. D'Anthony had 50 or 60 yards, and you know, Pipes had some, Serrano had some, Greg George had about 50 or 60, Eli had some good running yardage, so it was kind of by committee for that game, and it was good to see.
And we had some passing yards as well.
Well, we had 3 touchdown passes, and those were all big plays, you know, and we've got some quick strike potential, you know, and I think that showed the other night, and we were real pleased with that, and so it was a good offensive night. We had, I think, over 400 yards again, right at 450 yards of total offense, which is very good.
Now, we talked last week about some of the athletes that were on Lubbock High's side of the ball, you know, the Slaughter boy and of course, the quarterback. You know, they had some good-looking athletes.
They really did, and they've really improved their program, and it's hard to play them and see that they haven't, and believe that they haven't won but one football game, but they're very capable, and I thought our defense really did a good job against them. You know, we really controlled them. They had some yards passing, but they didn't have very many yards rushing at all, and if you can make a team one-dimensional, you really have a better chance of playing good defense, and that's what happened.
Well, it looked like you really neutralized and had a great game plan in place for your defense.
We did, and our defensive coaches, I think, did a great job. And Boyd Slaughter is a great athlete. He had a bad shoulder going in, and he hurt it a little bit on and off during the course of the game. Still had 12 receptions. Never had a real huge gain. I think he had one 22-yarder. But beyond that, I thought we controlled him really nicely. And really, we had 4 sacks. I'm trying to think who they were. Shaq Johnson had a sack. Santiago Leja had a sack. There were 2 others that were big plays, you know, and momentum busters, and I thought it was really a good defensive performance. And our special teams performed well as well. It was good to have Taylor Martin back with us last week, and he was 100% on all of his point-after touchdown kicks, and Kobe Pyron did a great job kicking away from Slaughter on our kickoff, and pushed the kick up short where we could get our coverage down there and still have them in decent field position for ourselves without giving them a chance for a big run back.
You know, the Slaughter boy, I believe it was Lubbock High's second possession, really showed what kind of athlete he was. It looked like he was going to break it, and somehow found a way to keep him contained all through the game.
We did, and you know, we're playing, we've got, everybody wants to have speed on defense, you know, and we try to put as much speed as we can on defense like everybody does, and we may not be the fastest group around, but we're very, very quick. And our secondary, we're really playing with 5 defensive backs. You know, our outside linebackers are converted defensive backs, and we've got 4 defensive backs, and we really do play a lot of defensive linemen. You know, we've got a core that starts the game, but we try to keep those guys fresh. And as the game progressed, we did get a lot of guys in the game late, and that was always positive, and it makes practice on Monday a lot more fun for them.
Well, it was certainly a fun night out at Ratliff, you know, homecoming, and it seemed to handle all of the distractions well. The team seemed to be a little more mature at this point of the season than it was earlier.
We just need to continue to improve, and I think that's our point of emphasis that we have with our team, is that you can get better every week in every area, and that's what we're striving for.
Short week this week. How do you handle that short week? And you know, Coronado's coming off of what would be considered a huge upset win over Tascosa this past week. How do you handle that short week?
They did have a convincing win over Tascosa, and Tascosa, I mean, it wasn't any fluke. We've given it a lot of thought. I think of all the teams that we've watched, and with our video exchange policy that we have in 2-5A, you know, you get to see every team by this stage of the game. You know, we've seen every team in the district. May not have analyzed them, but they're playing the team that we're going to play next. And I think in the last 3 weeks, really, they've probably improved more than any team that we've played thus far. And so they're a dangerous team, and the short week really kind of messes with you a little bit. We're going to try to consolidate Tuesday and Wednesday practices into one. We're not going to go any longer, but we're going to try to condense a few things, and maybe just the periods that we work on certain phases of the game may not be quite as long. And I think what we'll do on Thursday then is, before we leave on the bus, we'll go out and take 40 minutes on the grass and just have our walkthrough that we typically do on Thursday. So the routine, the things that we do on a weekly basis, will all be the same.
How important is that routine, Coach?
Well, I think the routine is very important because, you know, we all are routine oriented to some degree, and I know football players get into that rut, and coaches certainly do, and you don't want to leave any stone unturned. And if you get out of that routine, you can't do something that you really strongly believe in, then you feel like that you're unprepared. So we're going to do everything that we do on a normal Friday routine. It just won't be, the periods won't be quite as long as we work on our individual things.
Coach, do you have them focused on Coronado and not looking ahead to the 2 big games, you know, the Tascosa and the Midland High game that follow these?
Every game's a big game, and I think, and I don't, that's the truth. That's the way I really feel, because, you know, we can't lose anymore. And I think once our players see Coronado on video, they're going to really understand that they are for real and that they can beat us if we don't play extremely well. They're throwing the football all over the lot. They're running the Texas Tech spread, and they've got some good receivers. They've got huge linemen. Offensive and defensive linemen are just really probably the most active group that we've played against to this point, as far as size and strength. And, you know, we're not real big on the defensive line, so that is obviously a concern, and hopefully our quickness will offset some of that. And we just got to keep getting better. And I think that's the major theme that we try to sell our kids on, is that we're not there yet, and we want to get where we want to be. We've got to get better every week.
And when you look at the composite schedule of the games that remain for the last 3 weeks and who plays who, it's very cloudy and not going to clear up for a long time, is it? There's
still a lot of the teams that, like Amarillo High has some tough games ahead of them. Odessa High has some tough games ahead of them, and everybody does. Midland Lee has some tough games, and Midland High has some tough games. So, as I said last week, I think the district from top to bottom is more evenly balanced this year than it's been in a long time.
Coach, anything you want to add about the Panther program or the things that are going on over on 42nd Street?
Well, we're proud of our guys, and we're proud that we got the homecoming win, and hope we'll have a good number of our fans be able to travel up to Lowry Field on Thursday.
That does help, doesn't it?
You bet you it does.
Well, very good. Coach, thanks for coming on the show, and congratulations on a great win.
Thank you, sir.